We also need to keep in mind how JavaScript works with assignments and references. Like for instance, we have seen so far that if I want to create a variable, I can assign a value, and then I can use that whenever I need. So in this case, if I save, you can see here on the log that I have name Mary because I have created a variable called name. I use the equal sign to make the assignment, and then I define what is the value that I want to assign to this variable. So this is the structure that we have for assignments. The one on the left is the variable that I am creating. The one on the right of the equal sign is the value that I am assigning to that variable. But there is one special type of assignment which is called destructuring assignment. This one works for arrays and objects. So let's take a look on how we can work with arrays. We have seen so far. Let me create a new array called fruits. Let's assign some values to this array. So I want apple, banana, and orange. And then I want to log the first element from this array, and we have seen that I can get the name of the array and between square brackets what is the index, always starting from index 0. So if I save that, you can see that the first fruit that I have inside my array is apple. But sometimes I don't want to work like this, fruits of index 0, fruits of index 1, because depending on what I'm creating inside my system, I would need a better variable name. So sometimes I'm going to need to extract variables from inside this array. So I could create something like this. I'm going to create a variable called first fruit and assign index 0, and second fruit assign index 1. And let's just log those variables just so we can take a look on what we have. Second fruit. In this case, the name of the variable doesn't matter. Probably I would need to use a better name here. But just so it is clear what I'm doing, I'm going to use the variable name first fruit and second fruit. First fruit comes from index 0, second fruit comes from index 1. If I save that, you can see my first fruit is apple, second fruit is banana. No secret there. However, there is another way for me to extract the elements from an array. As you can see in both cases, I am creating two different variables, but both are coming from the same object, from the same fruits array. Remember, whenever we create an array, we are going to set on the left side of the assignment sign the name of the variable fruits and use the square brackets for creating the values. And inside the square brackets, I can assign as many values as I want for this array. We can use a similar structure doing the other way around for creating values, for extracting values from my array. In this case, that would work something like this. Let me comment out this code. And I would use the keyword for creating variables, but now I'm going to use the square brackets because I'm working with arrays. And yes, I'm going to use the square brackets on the left side of the assignment sign. And on the right side, I'm going to specify what is the array that I want to extract information from. And in this case, fruits. And now inside these square brackets, I can start creating as many variables as I want. And the same way as we do with values, I can create as many values as I want, and I just need to separate them using comma. Same thing for the variables, I can create as many variables as I want, and I'm going to separate them using comma. As for the name of the variable, I can create whatever name I want. And what is going to happen is that JavaScript will automatically start looking for values inside this array and assign to those variables on the exactly same order. So if the first value is apple, the first variable is going to receive the first value. The second variable is going to receive the second value, and so on. So in this case where I create here first fruit and second fruit, I could have accomplished the same thing doing exactly like this. I'm just going to assign first fruit and second fruit. If I save, you can see the result is exactly the same. I don't need to have a third one. I am receiving here, but I could go shorter than the size of my array. So I have 3 values, but I'm extracting 2 of those. No issues there. I get those values from that array. I could also just get the first one. In this case, you can see that the second one is undefined because I haven't created the variable, but for the first one, it did work. And I could go ahead and create more. Let's say I want to extract the third and the fourth values. The name of the variable doesn't matter. And then let's log those as well. Let's log the third value. And let's log the fourth one. So if I save my code, you can see that I have first apple, second banana, third orange, and fourth undefined. And that's because I do not have a fourth element. I just finished my array with 3 values, which means I'm going to assign it for the first 3 variables that I have here. After that, I'm just going to start getting undefined for everything. Obviously, unless I do have a value. So let's say I have a fourth value now for cherry. If I save, you can see that now I have a fourth one. I have one for cherry as well. So this is how we can work with the structuring assignment for arrays. If I needed to extract the values from inside my array, I could work in this way, which is going to be easier for extracting those values. We can do the same for objects. It's going to work similar, although a little different. So let's make an example of that. Let's go back to the code. Let me get rid of this. And let me start by create an object. So let me create student. Let's set ID, name, grade. And then let's just log the name of the student. So student name, I'm going to get from the object student dot the property name. If I save that, you can see student name is John Smith. That works fine. But again, sometimes I need to extract some values from my object. Usually I don't need to. I have this student object, and whenever I need to get properties from that, I just need to repeat the name of the object, period, the name of the property. But sometimes I want to make that one shorter, so instead of referring to the object over and over again, I want to extract some information from that. So let me create 2 variables from here. Let me create grade and name, which I'm going to get student.name. Then let's just log those information, grade, and let's log the name. So if I save, you can see that I get for my grade variable, I have 9.5, and for the name variable, I have John Smith. So I'm just getting those values from inside this object and assigning those to different variables. It works fine. However, there is an easier way for me to do that. And that's just going to work if the name of the variable that I'm creating on the left side of the equal sign is exactly the same name of the property that I am extracting. In this case, you can see that I am creating a variable grade for getting the property grade, and I am creating a variable name for getting the property name. Most of the time, this is what we are going to do. There is no reason for creating a different variable name and causing some confusion. But sometimes I do need to create something like full name gets student.name. If that's the case, then there is no other way for you to do that other than this one. You need to set the new name for the variable and the property that you want. But as I mentioned, if I am repeating the same variable name with the property, there is an easier way for me to do that. And that would be, I'm going to use the keyword for declaring a variable, and then on the left side I'm going to use the curly braces. Again, I'm working with objects. We know that whenever I want to create an object, I'm going to use the curly braces on the right side of the equal sign, but now I want to create a variable, so I'm moving these curly braces to the left side of the equal sign. And then I'm going to specify what is the object where I want to get this information from. So I want to get that from the student object. And inside these curly braces, the only thing that I'm going to assign here is what is the property that I want to extract. So let's say I want to extract grade. I could do something like this. So in this case, JavaScript will do both. It will create the variable called grade, and it will extract the property grade from inside this object and assign this to this variable. If I save, you can see it is going to work for grade, but not for name because I haven't extracted that. I could do the exactly same thing. I could create a constant where I get the property name, which I'm going to retrieve from inside student. So if I save now, you can see it works fine. I have name John Smith. So again, if I am using the same name for the variable as the property, I can use this short version for create them. I don't need to repeat grade twice or repeat name twice. And even better, I can extract multiple properties at once. So right now I am extracting from the object student two different properties, but since I'm getting from the same object, I could simply move this one from here to here, separated by comma, which would make the second line unnecessary. So if I save, you can see I still have grade and name working, being extracted from this object. So again, it works very similar to the array, but for the array, it needs to match the exactly same order. So the first element goes to the first variable, the second one to the second variable. But for an object, I don't need to match the order. What I need to match is the name of the property. In this case, it doesn't matter the order that I am creating. As you can see, name goes before grade here, but here I am extracting grade before name. Also, I have ID before, but I'm not even extracting that one. So it doesn't matter what is the order. I can extract in each order that I want as long as the name of the properties match. And this is a great shorthand for us whenever we are coding with objects inside JavaScript.